Hello, Hollywood Times viewers. Judy Shields here. Today, we are so excited to welcome back on the show today public historian, writer, and the host of the eighth season. Yes, people, eighth season of Lost LA, Nathan Masters. Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Judy. So excited to be back.
So
Thanks
good
for
to
having me.
see you. You're welcome. We're so excited to have you here. What you been up to? Season eight's something else.
Season eight. That's what we've been up to. I know it's a roller coaster or something like that.
I mean, we talked like a year ago for season seven, and I'm like telling you, I can't believe what you've been doing. And now season eight, and I still can't believe it. It's the things that you all come up with. It's just astonishing. Like, folks, let me tell you, they had the first one is called The Fast and the Forgotten, which explored California's century-long affair with car racing, and Nathan went out and visited the Auto Club of Southern California Archives. Who would think auto racing has anything to do with AAA, Southern California? Come on.
Yeah, and yet that's why the organization was founded. It was a social club of generally well-to-do, well, mostly gentlemen
Yeah.
who liked cars where they were novelty and they liked to race them, and so they needed an organization to promote that.
You must have been so surprised when you found all this information, right? Going there.
I had no idea because again, as I say in the episode, I've always thought of AAA as the organization that rides to your rescue when you have a flat tire or a dead battery. And I mean, that is what it is for most people today, but it has its origins in auto racing, which is interesting because this is another forgotten aspect of Southern California history that auto racing was so huge. I mean, sure, there's still a big auto racing culture, but it used to, I mean, drag racing was born here, right? There was road racing, there was track racing all throughout Southern California in places you wouldn't expect it, like Beverly Hills and Santa Monica.
I know, who would have thought that? That part about when you're in the Santa Monica Mountains, that's pretty amazing. But I mean, the episode came out last Tuesday, so that's okay
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about it. You can still watch it on PBS SoCal and the app. It's a wonderful place to go and catch it out. But what was it like when you found that guardrail?
That was great. Well, we have a thing on the show where we love to find things that are hiding in plain sight. This is actually, I think, something that our director Matt Bass came up with.
Okay.
But that seems to be a recurring theme in the show. And we just happened to mention this to the park retired park ranger Tom we were walking with. And he said, "Oh, I have just the thing." So he found this photograph actually it was a still from a movie that was shot there in the 1950s or maybe early 60s.
Yeah.
And he said that you can still find that guardrail hiding in plain sight. And sure enough, we found it, although it took some sleuthing.
It was good because I liked how you guys held it up and said, "Oh, that's the same mountain. It's like super
Yeah.
cool, And let's go, let's go." I love the part about, is there any rattlesnakes? That would have been my question.
Yes. Yeah. I actually, I mean, there was a non-zero chance that there was a rattlesnake in that brush, and I kind of wish I had a walking stick at that point.
Oh my gosh. Also, I like the part about the Hot Rod magazine, like starting back in
Mhm.
1948. I had no clue that far back.
Yeah, and the very first issue of Hot Rod magazine, which of course is an institution, became an institution, still is an institution today. It started out
Yeah.
just as the program for the Southern California Timing Association's meet, and yet it was such a successful concept, right? Like highlighting the cars, highlighting the innovation, the safety, the thought, the thinking that went into the safety of the sport. It was such a good concept that Robert Peterson and his partner figured out, well, this actually should be a magazine, right? This should come out every month.
Exactly. And I really like how back in the day they went to the junkyards, to get
Yeah,
parts and stuff to build these
yeah.
cars. It's amazing.
It was all DIY. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Nobody. I mean, maybe people did, but you probably wouldn't want to just buy a car off the lot and put it out on the racetrack. You'd want to tinker with it and make it faster and more streamlined and safer for those speeds too.
And also another thing that I thought, I'm so jealous that you got to go to the Peterson Museum vault. What was that like?
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, there are so many cool cars that we didn't even get a chance to show on, like, for instance, they have one of the DeLoreans from Back to the Future. They had they had they had like a Tesla what a Cybertruck that Elon
Yeah.
Musk had actually shot with with a gun. I think he was trying to prove that it was bulletproof. But they have so many cool cars there that we didn't even get to see. But the story we were trying to tell through the vault was the evolution of the racing car. We started with the Model T, that sort of humble Model T that didn't go more than 18 miles an hour, and then we saw each progression, each stage in the progression towards faster and faster cars. And again, that was, as you said, it's all this innovation, backyard or, in the garage innovation.
That's something. Well, I own a 1934 Model B pickup truck, and I'm telling you, I'd love to be that part of history.
Uh-huh.
So, folks, like I said, that's been out, and you can still see it. They've got one coming on tonight, January 13th at 7:30 on PBS SoCal, and it will show again tomorrow on PBS SoCal Plus.
Yeah, it's actually sci-fi origins.
Oh,
So it's
sorry,
the
Sci-Fi Origins.
idea, yeah, it's the idea that again, Southern California, like auto racing, Southern California played what might be a surprising role in developing the genre of science fiction. There was so many, of course, there science fiction predated the period that we were talking to. I mean, it goes. Some
Yeah.
people would say it goes all the way back to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but Southern California really turned it from a literary genre into a fan-based community, right? That's really what happened here. There was a really prominent science fiction club, the Los Angeles I think Science Fantasy Society. So it is abbreviated as LASFS, which is
Yeah.
almost impossible to say. It's even harder to
Yes.
say. But we're talking about in the 1940s, a group with a lot of influential writers, including Ray Bradbury, and probably the most prominent science fiction writer associated with LA. But he was a member of this. He started out as just a fan, and he was reading science fiction, contributing his own stories to this journal. And there were other really influential people in this group, and they really helped make science fiction into the sort of sci-fi phenomenon that we know today.
So in the show, who goes out and finds these interviewers? It's
Well,
you.
we have a big team, research team. We put a lot of thought into into what sort of stories we're gonna tell in these episodes and how we're gonna tell them. And yeah, so we have for this season we had a couple researchers, Anne Marie Maxwell, Michaela Rogers. They were both in-house at the USC Libraries, which is a production partner in the show. And then, of course, there's a whole big team at the PBS SoCal side too. I mean, our showrunner is Angela Boisvert, and she does a lot of that herself. But then we also have production manager, production coordinators, and we all get together every week, and we're sort of in that phase now, trying to think about what we're going to do next. And we get together and we identify the stories and we find the best people to interview.
There's so much. Like I said, the show is just going to go on, and we love it because you just give us so much excited. I mean, I work in Los Angeles, don't live in LA, but there's just so much, and I've learned so much from your shows from all these seasons. Uh, the next one up is called True Crime, and it's going to be out Tuesday, January 20th at 7:30. That one was fascinating. Ooh.
Oh, did you get a chance to see that one? Yeah.
Yes, that one I got to see. Oh, and I was so
Yeah.
jealous that you got to talk to Michael Connolly. Oh,
I know, I
oh,
know. There were some amazing interviews in that show. Yeah,
yes.
Michael Connolly was it was a real treat to talk to him. I'm such a huge fan
Mhm.
of his writing. And then of course like the adaptations that have been made from his books too. And
Gosh,
not only that, but now he's doing podcast. I don't know if you heard, but
no,
he's helped break the story of the who was the actual Black Dahlia and Zodiac
what?
killer. Yeah, yeah. So
No.
he has a new podcast out. I think it's excellent, but that's a different show.
Yeah.
But it was a real treat to talk to him. And what's interesting actually about this podcast is that it's Connolly's in some way returning to his reporter roots, right? He started out
Okay.
as a crime reporter, first in Florida, then at the Los Angeles Times, and it was this work as a crime reporter, writing what you could call true crime
Yeah.
that turned him in, made him into the great crime fiction author that he is today. And so one of the things we tried to do in this episode was tease out the connections between true crime and crime fiction, which of course LA is just wrapped up in all these crime stories. I mean, Raymond Chandler to LA Confidential, right? But a lot of it is connected with this nonfiction, this fact-based crime storytelling that Connolly was a part of. But you know, so were other people that we interviewed and that we highlighted, including this magazine writer from the 1950s, Edward Sullivan. We have his papers at the USC libraries, and I mean, he wrote about so many different cases. He was working in tandem with the detectives, and the records of all that are now in these boxes. It's really fun to look at that.
Yeah, that's what gets us all hooked on this true crime stuff because it can just you go back to like the 50s and you're like, wow, that's amazing how they kind of like go back to do the research, from things that happened
Yeah,
back then. Yeah,
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah. And of
So,
course, we should mention that I also got to speak to Marcia Clark,
yes.
a part of perhaps the biggest true crime story of the last century. And we were not talking about the OJ case. We were talking about, if maybe in passing, but we were talking
Yeah, yeah.
about another case because she's no longer a prosecutor. She's an author now, and she's written some best-selling fiction. But this is her first turn at nonfiction, and she wrote about this, I would say, forgotten case from the 1950s, but it's just a fascinating story of a woman accused of murder and not getting a fair shake by the criminal justice system.
Yeah, I love how the show shows that. It really gets you on your edge of your seat, just like, what? Now I want to like do more research because it's just
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yep.
Good job, Marcia.
Exactly.
Oh, great. And there always has to be a last one so far. California Bloom. That's beautiful. Tuesday, January 27th at 7:30. Let's talk about that one. That was a beautiful episode.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So the story there is California does have this endowment of natural beauty and color. It is usually limited seasonally, right? And
Yeah.
usually you get amazing wildflower blooms in the spring, but the rest of the year, the landscape, especially before people put in private gardens and
Yeah.
before suburban development, it was mostly green and then brown, right? Especially around this time of year, it would be relatively brown or maybe turning green again.
Yeah.
But there were these people who deliberately tried to colorize the landscape and introduce year-round color. One of them, and one of my probably the people I'm most fascinated by in Southern California history, is Kate Sessions. She's actually from San Diego, but she played an outsized role in Los Angeles too. She introduced plants that we just take for granted today in the local landscape, like the bougainvillea, the jacaranda. I don't know. Are you a jacaranda fan, Judy?
That was a great big part. I'm like, no, I'm not. But yes, I am.
Yeah, we actually staged our first ever Lost LA debate about jacarandas in this episode. We have Gustavo Arellano, who's a self-proclaimed jacaranda hater, and then we have
Yeah.
Julia Wick, who's a jacaranda defender. And it's fascinating because jacarandas really bring out uh, sharply differing opinions.
I mean, they were beautiful, but not to live like that street that you showed, not to live there. Oh,
Yeah, you would never want to park your car there.
oh, that's something. Yeah, and then you're talking about down in San Diego where they have all that, right down there.
Yeah, so we went down to San Diego where Kate Sessions was from. She's described as the mother of Balboa Park, and Balboa Park is of course
Oh,
one of the great city
yeah.
parks in well, not in just in the United States, in the world. And she was the one who did the first intentional plantings in Balboa Park, the first gardens essentially. And so it was really great to dig into that history. And then we teased out the connections between San Diego and LA. Like it obviously her writing was influential way beyond San Diego.
Exactly. There's a lot of history there. I love like the purple sage. You talk about
Hmm.
certain things and that's
Hmm.
and then also the botanic garden, like out here in Claremont.
Yeah, yeah, we were able to go there. We didn't actually stroll the gardens much. We actually looked at their herbarium, which is essentially a
Yeah.
library of pressed plants. And we like to highlight archives in Lost LA. That's what we try to tell the
Yeah.
history of LA through the archives. This is unusual because archives are usually collections of paper documents. This is a collection of plants, of pressed plants but they've been collected over the well, actually over the centuries. Some of them are from the 1700s, but a lot of them are from the last 120 years or so. And if you go back to those early collections, you can see, unfortunately, you can see like a real change in the way these plants were distributed. Like a lot of these plants were collected where today no native plants grow. They're the people's gardens, or there's a Amazon warehouse, or there's a parking lot, or whatever. But so much of what used to be Southern California, botanically speaking, is gone. But it's still preserved in this herbarium at the Claremont Botanical Gardens.
When she opened that door to show you and I saw that stuff, I'm in records, so it's like I see all that. I'm like, what is that? Then for you guys to show it, that must have been pretty awesome for you to see that. And you did something with one, you know?
Yeah, well, to see it and to smell it too, because these are
Oh,
plants, right? And even decades after they've been pressed and filed away, you open the sage, the cabinet of the sage
yeah,
family, and you can smell that it
it
smells like
does.
you're in a sagebrush field. But yeah, I actually got to participate in taking some old pressed plants and carefully gluing them to a paper, and then attaching the record, and then they would be filed away safely, so that and this is not just for people who are doing TV shows. This is
Yes.
this is an active aid to scientists today, to biologists.
Did you know that they did that kind of stuff from way back then?
I guess I really wasn't aware of herbaria. I had
Yeah,
never even thought of the concept, but I mean, I learned so much fascinating stuff in Lost LA all the time.
exactly. And I kind of like how you go to different trails and different parks, to let us know because that brings folks out there. You did that as well, on this one.
Yeah, we had somebody from the Theodore Payne Foundation take us out into a place in the Santa Monica Mountains, and just look at, and it wasn't even our shooting schedule wouldn't let us be out there the best time of year, where there would have been ideally, the hillsides
Yeah.
would have been ablaze with color. But I mean, she was great at just finding like these little details of color. I mean, if you look closely, it's there a lot of the time, and it's kind of easy to miss, but there's color all over the native landscape.
And I really, really love how you guys talked about, our national parade, Rose Parade, because it all comes from flowers and blooms. Isn't it amazing what they've done?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. I got to see a float, the city of Burbank's float being put together. I had never seen that before. I mean, of course, if you a lot of these places take volunteers,
Yes.
the pedal pushers, so you get a chance to do that actually if you want to see it, and then I would recommend it because it's really cool, especially when you see the early stages. It's just a lot of this mesh, like scaffolding. They haven't covered everything. You can see the innards of the float, and sure enough, there's a little, vehicle, like a little truck inside.
Inside. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done volunteered many years over at Fiesta Floats in
Okay.
Vernon, and I worked back in 2004, I believe it was, for the Disneyland did one for the California Adventure when they had the high tower, Tower of Terror it was called. That was fascinating, so I got hooked doing it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
carnation pusher I was. Peddler, they
Okay.
called it, carnation peddler. But yeah, so let's kind of tell our viewers how they can watch your show.
Yeah, so the episodes are airing. Well, they premiere every Tuesday at 7:30 on PBS SoCal. Of course, they're available on the free PBS app.
Yep.
We also stream them on pbssocal.org and on YouTube.
So there's no excuse, folks, because this is another great season. I mean, we all have to deal with cars. We all have I know we love crime because we watch the shows, and who doesn't want to know about blooms? And we're all fascinated by sci-fi. So you get to catch it all this season, season 8, Lost LA with Nathan Masters. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here once again at the Holler Times. We love your show. We love supporting everything PBS. And also, folks, donate to PBS. It's the most amazing TV you'll have out there.
Thanks so
Thank,
much, Judy. It's been
thank
great to be back.
Yes, enjoy your day.